You're listening to Behind the Shield, giving you 15 minutes of inspiration, triumphs, and more with the Salvation Army.
I am Captain Ken Chapman. I'm the Area Commander of the Salvation Army in Orange and Osceola counties, and we're always wanting to give you a view behind the red shield, what really goes on with the Salvation Army. And today I have a very special guest who has just recently taken a position at the Salvation Army that we badly needed to have filled. And it is the hardest position probably in all of our command. Of all the 70 positions, this is the hardest. He is the manager of the men's shelter for emergency and transitional shelter and veteran shelter, and it is a handful. So welcome, Trevorblack Mormon. Now, first of all, we need to know the origin of that name.
All right. Well, I had a childhood filled with adversity, and the adults around me wasn't doing the right things. And once I became 18 years old, I discovered that the name I was traveling under for the first 18 years was illegal.
Oh.
The only name that was legal was my last name, Morman, which is my family's last name, grandmother, and so on. So when I went to New York City Hall, they said, all we have is the last name is Morman. They had my date of birth and the time. And the reason why that was important was because me knowing the time I was born helped them identify which birth certificate was mine. And at that point, they said, sir, create your own name, first name. And Trevor was already a middle name. Donnie was the first name. I despised that name. So all I do is just I held on to Trevor because people knew me as Trevor. Then I said, nope, that's a little bit too plain. And I said, I got to do a little something exotic with it. And I just said my favorite color. It was black, and that was it.
There you go.
I said Trevorblack and Morman, and that was it.
So you chose that name.
That is correct.
And so when you were in the interview process and people were running your information across my desk, I kept saying, well, how about this Trevorblack guy? And it says, well, his name is Trevorblack. That's his first name. I said, oh, it's not Trevor and Black. It's Trevorblack, Morman. And so it took us a little getting used to that, and you've had that all your life, I'm sure.
Every day my name is against my will abbreviated.
I got it. Well, so I want to know, and I'm sure our audience will want to know, what motivated you? What's your background, and what motivated you to want to be the manager of the most difficult job we have in the whole command?
Well, like I told you, my childhood was filled with adversity. I was just around people who were doing the wrong things. And I had a couple of good people in my life, a couple of good adults in my life, who just helped guide me in the direction that the adults who were supposed to be responsible for me were doing. So I got a lot of help as far as with going to school, with eating, because when your parents are on drugs and...
Yeah, you guys can't see him like I can. Yep. He's very trim and fit,
unlike
the captain.
Thank you. I like to do a lot of exercising and everything. Those people in my life who I had guide me and do the right directions in New York in the 80s. I don't know if you've been in New York in the 80s, but it was wild. So once I became 21, I said, when I go to college, I want to do something in the human services field. I want to help people out in life like the people who helped me get through life. And I've been in the human services field the last 20 years, working with kids from the age of 10 to 11 to adults who are as old as 90, dealing with substance abuse or mental health issues. And I'm a natural at it. It doesn't even seem like a job.
Well, the few weeks you've been with us, we've already determined that,
yes.
And we're grateful that God sent you our way. I go out every Saturday morning on what we call the Brian Smith Urban Outreach. And we go out on the street, and we also have another one on Tuesdays. So Tuesday, the outreach goes to the chronically homeless, those who probably won't come into a shelter, mental illness, addiction. And Saturdays is the ministry where we reach the precariously housed. And we bring the gospel of Jesus Christ. We bring them hope. We bring them clothing, food, anything that's donated to us. And
yes.
Just letting them know that somebody cares. And one of those people that go with me is a monitor who checks in the people who come in and out of the shelter. And kind of
yes.
He works one of the shifts. And he told me, he said, I am so impressed with our new manager. I said, well, what impresses you? He said he actually comes out of his office and talks to people, interacts with people. He said he won me over the other day when I saw him sitting down playing chess with one of our clients. And that was impactful to me because that said volumes to me. It said, it's not just a job for you. You really do care. I mean, you could check the boxes of your responsibilities, but you go the extra mile. And what is in your heart that draws you to playing chess with a homeless guy?
A homeless guy is no different than a billionaire.
Okay, I hope y'all heard that. Say that one more time, please. Say it.
A homeless guy is no different than a billionaire.
We are all people.
That's right.
With very similar needs.
That's right.
Some happen to fall on bad times or difficult things happen to us. And to have someone like yourself who cares and who is interested in how people feel.
Yes.
When you encounter one of our clients, one of the homeless, how do you feel we can make a difference in their lives in that men's shelter?
The first is by speaking with them, because I've noticed that there are a lot of guys that walk through the shelter, either for the one day or they're there for 30 days, and there's not much talking. So I like to engage people because that conversation right there could be the difference in that person's life that day. They could be contemplating anything. They could have SI. They could be struggling. They want to harm themselves. Anything could be going on. Right. And I like to go up to somebody, especially home, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I like to ask people, "Are you hungry? You need something to drink? How can I help you?"
There's a lot of them that deal with PTSD. And we have to understand that a lot of them come in their most broken states. And they don't treat us well sometimes because they're angry at God. They're mad at the world. Things happen to them, sometimes of their own choices and the consequences they have to pay. Sometimes things happen to us that we can't control. And, most of us are really just one paycheck away from being in that shelter ourselves.
Or incident.
Exactly. And so to have someone of your caliber with a resume, with your qualifications, but more importantly, somebody that comes with a heart and a passion for wanting to help people, because we're okay with our pay, but I'm sure you didn't take this job for the pay.
No.
But most people who work in our shelter say it's a calling. As a matter of fact, one of the monitor that told me he was so impressed by what he saw with you, he says, this is a calling. God has placed me here to help bring hope to people.
Yes.
So on a daily basis, tell me I know you talk to people. Tell me other ways that the Salvation Army or you try to bring hope to those who enter our doors.
Meet them as far as you can to the resources they need, the services that they need to get their lives back on track, to get them off the streets. Maybe it could just be to get a meal or something to drink.
Yeah, I think the most important thing we can do is just give them dignity. Regardless of our circumstances, as you said, a billionaire or someone living in the gutter, we are all human beings. And as a matter of fact, the Bible tells us at the foot of the cross, we're all the same.
That's right.
Color, race, gender, everything.
Everything.
And it's important that we, as an army trying to help the homeless, trying to bring hope to people who've lost their hope, a voice to people who can't speak for themselves. The best thing we can do is to bring dignity. And I think you guys do that on a regular basis. Here's the interesting thing about our shelter. It's open 365 days a year. As a matter of fact, this year, 366 days.
That's right, leap year.
Right? And it's open 24/7. We never close the doors of the Salvation Army. Now, that's a daunting task for a manager. We can't expect you to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So how do you manage that when you're away? Do you trust the people that are working under you?
Oh, yes. And if the situation is severe, they can easily pick up the phone and make the call. So I'll answer.
You're available all the time.
I'll answer.
That's a great godsend for us. We need that. We have usually 120 men basically in our shelter every night. Our shelter is in horrible shape. It is falling down around us. And don't think for an instant that my office is not aware of that. Okay. We've been fighting for 3 years to try to get it fixed. We're about $2 million away from the $7.5 million we need.
Yes.
But we're talking to the right people, and we think by the end of this summer, we're going to be on our way.
Excellent.
And we will expand that shelter a little bit. The kitchen will be 4 times bigger. The dining room will be 4 times bigger with air walls. We will provide day services to keep people off the streets. We have a great strategic plan for this shelter to move forward. We feel, Trevorblack, that we have found the right person to lead us into that new future. Excellent. Tell us any visions you have for the future for that men's shelter.
I have a whole lot, but like I said, once the layout is, I'll see how we're going on. But I just introduced an annual chess tournament. We're starting that tournament today, so I got to check out and see how many participants I got. Last I checked, I had about 10.
Well, check with me, and I'll give you some prizes to give away.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. Well, those kinds of things are what helps to stimulate people back into stability. And our job is to take the brokenness that comes to our door, bring stability so that they'll be more productive citizens, making Central Florida a better place to live.
Excellent.
And so every day we charge you, Trevorblack, with the responsibility of guiding those men down the right pathway. It's the hardest population to deal with. It's not... The women and children's shelter is not easy, but the men's shelter, particularly emergency shelter, is the most difficult. And we pray for you often. As a matter of fact, our social services team, of which you are a part of, opens the day with prayer every day. And so we believe in the power of prayer. In Matthew, Jesus said, if you give a cup of water to some such as these, you're giving it to me. So our daily work is ministry. It is uplifting. It is... When we say we're doing the most good, we're not bragging, saying we do better than anybody else. What that statement is, it's a pledge that we will do the most good with what people entrust to us, the resources they give us. And as we wrap this up, I want to point out that the most requested items for men in our shelter are socks and underwear and toiletries. So anybody that can bring that around to us, we would love it. I'm sure Trevorblack, more man, would really appreciate that. Did I put the accent right?
That's right.
More man.
That's right. More man. That's...
All right, I'll teach the rest of the command to do that. But we're grateful for you. Thank you for coming our way, and know that you will be lifted up in prayer, and whatever resource you need from the office of the area commander, you let us know. We'll make sure you have it. Great days are ahead. If you want to help the Salvation Army, you can go to salvationarmyorlando.org, or you can go to salvationarmyosceola.org. And also, we have an app that you can download, the Salvation Army Orlando app. And you can find out more about the Salvation Army than you probably ever want to know. But we are so glad to welcome to our staff Trevorblack, more man, and we look for great days to come. God bless you, Trevorblack.
Yes, thank you.
And we hope that if you want to join us or you want to give us some toiletries, socks, and underwear, we'd love for you to do that. We're located at 416 West Colonial Drive, and the men's shelter is 624 Lexington Avenue. That's the only building on that street on that side. But if you would like to bring by some socks, underwear, or anything toiletries that would help men find their dignity, we would welcome that, and we offer you that opportunity. SalvationArmyOrlando.org, SalvationArmyOsceola.org. Today, make it the best day ever. God bless you.
Behind the Shield is powered by News 6, United Way, City of Orlando and Orange County.